Have you ever thought that you were called for more? Have you ever thought to yourself that surely there is more for me to accomplish here? But then there's so many questions surrounding this. How? Why? When? And what? You question yourself trying to find the reason for your existence. I give you an example. There was a young man in scriptures, and he would have been among brothers and sisters. He would have been left to care and to tend to sheep. And so, in the process of him caring and learning the trade, learning how to be a good shepherd, danger would have showed up. When danger shows up, you have to be able to be ready and think on your feet very quickly. If you are not able to respond in regards to the danger that was at hand, it could mean life and death. What would have happened? The Spirit of God would have been with him, ensuring his safety, causing him to use what he had, and he was able to overthrow the enemy that came to slaughter not just the life of the sheep, but possibly his own life. What was happening in all this? Because when things like these happen, the first thing we tend to do is we are saying, God is not there. Why is this happening to me? I am forgotten. And we use all these terminologies, not understanding that these things are tests. These things are being brought to us for us to maneuver, for us to be able to trust in God, even when it feels and seems as if there is no way out of this. Surely I am going to be unalive. God would have allowed these tests to come so that you can rest upon him, knowing that you will not be unalive here. This is not your final place. But in the mix of that, you need to understand that without you putting your trust and confidence, even when it seems as if you don't know quite what you're doing, you don't understand the full fundamentals of it, and persons may be laughing, persons may be mocking, persons themselves don't understand what is happening around your very own life. I am saying to you, continue to make the steps, continue to make the mistakes. You know, I am privileged to be able to have played some instruments. And one of the instruments that I love very much is the drum set. When I started out, I never just started out playing the drums as a professional like that. It started out from me having a drive, a passion, a yearning. And from that, I went on to apply myself. I started to zoom in and zone in on all the things relating and surrounding drums. And by doing so, I was able to pick up on different skills and techniques to the point where I was able to be trained. I was able to go through schools of training at different levels to the point where I was able to grace stages with renowned men, persons in the industry that are professionals to the highest level, and be able to give glory unto our King, and also moving from one stage to the next, understanding that it started out by me applying myself. Did I make a lot of mistakes along the way, of course. And that is the beauty of it. Sometimes we get caught up because we don't want to make the mistakes. We don't want to be laughed after. We don't want to be eyeballed and ruled, and we don't want to be rejected. Did you know that rejection is a means of you failing forward, getting more understanding and knowledge so you can develop and be a better individual, so that the no's become less and less and you are more becoming pleasing to the ear, pleasing to the surrounding, making your mark in society to the point where persons are way more interested in hearing what you have to say. The young man in the scriptures, David was being trained, never knew that the training that he was going through was a means to put him in authority, place him in a place where he became a warrior, put him in a place where he was able to fend off enemies when the time come to defend his country, defend the whole principles of God and the ordinances of God. So when it comes to purpose, you have to understand that purpose deals with our why. The reason for your being, your existence. It deals with you understanding why am I here? And how can I apply being here in alignment with what God has planned for your life? The first thing that you want to do is to go before God and let it be known unto Him. Use me, Lord, as I ask for you to be my direction. Many times we would take for granted getting up and just doing. And there is no just us. There is no just we. If it is not God, it is the next side. There is no in between. And so many times we feel as if it's all about what I need to do, and this is what I need to do. Have you ever paused and stop and consult your Father? Have you ever said, what is your will? Let not my will be done, but let thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. There has to be an alignment. The moment you become aware of your purpose, I am telling you, everything changes. How? It changes because you start to understand the main reason that you were placed here on this earth. Every single one of us that are here, we were placed, other than the fact to give worship unto the Lord Almighty, we were placed to carry out our purpose that God has planned for our lives. But one has to understand that it's not just us doing, because it can feel as if you're just being burnt out. You're being used. And when one does not understand their purpose in alignment with God, it can feel as if you are going through an abusive state. So you're going to that job every day, every month, year after year. You know you don't like the job. You know you can't take what is happening around, and you feel as if you are being called for something deeper, for something greater. You are afraid to take that leap of faith. Why? Because you're thinking about the bills. You're thinking about the family. Which is right. And nothing is wrong with all of that. But you are so focused on the fact that if I make this move, what is going to happen? When someone is learning to parasail or to wingsurf or any of these crazy, one would call it hobby, This is something that before you reach on the cliff, before you venture in the sky, your mindset has to be right. You have to be able to psych yourself up, to convince yourself that nothing is not going to change at all for you. Nothing is going to change your mind, change your idea. And so once your mindset is set and locked in, you start to prepare with everything surrounding that, knowing very well that it is very high risk. But when you weigh the pros and the cons, for the most part, one is willing to take that risk, though it is very high risk. For what? For the thrill, for the enjoyment, for the accomplishment that they are longing for. It's the same principle when it comes to the things of your life that deals with the alignment of the purpose in God. When you understand what it is that you are called to do, you start to know, zoom in on that which God will be pleased. And so because of you sitting and working in your purpose, everything around you start to align itself much better. Of course, with the story of David, he would have been anointed and appointed by Samuel the prophet. It never took him any time after where Israel was confronted with a giant. They were confronted with a stumbling block. Israel could not move on from where they were because of fear and doubt, no longer having the trust in God. And they were there contemplating a king that was there to lead them, was totally now in darkness, blind, and have no idea how do we get over this hump. And there comes a young lad, there comes a young chap, there comes just a boy, that when he heard and saw the giant that opposed Israel, what did he do? He immediately gained courage, strength, and declare that this Philistine, this uncircumcised Philistine, must become unalive, must be removed. This is how one has to see themselves with the giant that is before you. Each of us in some way have a giant that we have to destroy, that we have to take hold of. What is your giant? And what are the things that you are doing to ensure that you get over this giant? And now you have aligned yourself so that the will of God, the purpose of God for your life can be made manifest. What happens when you step into the purpose that God has for you? Things you must have challenge. So when you start to align yourself with the purpose, you're going to face challenge. Why are you facing challenge? Because the kingdom of darkness does not want you to fully access all that God has for you. Why? Knowing well that once you have tapped into that authority, there's no one or nothing that can stop you. So the best bet that he can do is to slow you down. Slow you down with distraction, slow you down with tiredness, slow you down with doubt.